We're having an in-depth conversation with suicide loss survivors in recognition of Suicide Awareness Month. Suicide continues to be a major concern in this country, and it is the second leading cause of death among people between the ages of 10 and 34, according to the CDC. Former TV6 News morning news anchor Elizabeth Peterson joins us in studio this morning with the second story in her series, Suicide Loss Survivors Find a Path Forward. Elizabeth?
Good morning, John. Good morning, everyone. It's a question I've heard over and over throughout my years covering suicide. What can we do to reduce the rate? And here's what I've learned. We start by talking about it. Research shows sharing stories of those impacted by suicide helps to not only minimize the stigma around suicide, but sharing them can save lives. I sat down with Jeff Olson, whose son died by suicide in 2012. For 13 years, Jeff has been an advocate by sharing his son Daniel's story. His effort to carry forward Daniel's legacy has given kids a safe space to talk, connect, feel seen, and learn they are not alone.
Somebody you would think that had it all. No worries in the world, no reason to be sad, no reason to be depressed, yet he was. And it was hard to understand for him, hard to understand for us as loved ones.
Jeff's son Daniel is remembered as an all-American kid with a life full of family, friends, laughter, and accomplishments as an athlete. He was adored by all those who knew him. Daniel also suffered from a mental illness. From 6th grade to his junior year in high school, he struggled in silence, eventually sharing what he was going through with his parents and getting help in the form of therapy and medications. But Jeff says Daniel didn't really accept the help because it didn't make sense to him.
When people are suffering or people are struggling, you know, all they know is that they're not themselves and they can't, it's hard for them to explain, hard for them to bring it up because of the stigma involved, that people will judge them. So it's that's what Daniel was going through, and we didn't understand it at the time. You talk about from 6th grade to when he ultimately took his life when he was 19. That's 8 years. He didn't know what he was going through. So now we're trying to, you know, create that understanding so people understand that this is real. There's no shame in having it. There's things that you can do because it is very treatable.
Jeff wants to get to a place where mental illness is viewed the same as any other medical illness, like heart disease. He wants people to know there are physical things happening in the brain, connections that are off, deficiencies. They may be hard to see or detect, but they are treatable.
I always say this, you know, you have a medical illness. What would you do if you had a medical illness? Number one, you're going to talk to somebody to see if I need, somebody you trust to see if I need to go see a doctor. Then go see a doctor. When you see the doctor, you have to speak up. Since
Daniel died by suicide in 2012, Jeff has shared his story, his struggle, and his fight to hundreds of schools across the Midwest. He says it just always felt right to talk about what happened and to be part of the effort to increase awareness, education, and resources.
I found out early on that, you know, this is my strategy. This is my strategy to grieve because in some way I felt that, you know, maybe Daniel didn't die in vain. So it's very healing for me to see that other people might be getting help after I leave. So it, you know, like I said, it's my strategy to help me grieve, and maybe Daniel's helping people when he's not here.
Jeff says he'll keep working. Every time he hears of another life taken by suicide, it's a reminder there's work to be done. And the kids like Daniel, who reach out after a presentation, who line up to talk one-on-one with Jeff, they're a reminder of what's at stake.
And it's almost like a light bulb goes on for some kids that, hey, what I'm going through is real. There is a name for what I'm going through. For other kids, it lets them come and tell their story. Let them open up because they know maybe they might not get judged like they would have before I got there.
And while Jeff recognizes there are more resources available to today's kids than there were for Daniel, progress is moving slowly. There's still a long way to go.
Daniel thought he was alone. He thought he was the only one struggling. We thought, you know, our family's kind of alone, you know, because people didn't talk about it then. So the more events, the more functions, the more real life stories and people coming forward and telling their stories, you know, helps the understanding for this.
If you or someone you know is struggling or in a suicidal crisis, help is available. Call 988. The Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available 24 hours a day. We also have a list of resources available on our website, uppermichigansource.com, under the Suicide Prevention Resources tab on the homepage. Tomorrow, in Part 3, we share the story of a suicide loss survivor and a suicide attempt survivor. This is an important conversation, as suicide loss survivors are up to 3 times more likely to die by suicide themselves.